We will have to do a Childfree Girls menopause special when it's time. Like when we're all going through it or have gone through it.
Oh, wow. I wonder who's going to hit first.
I am not looking forward to that.
I am.
Well,
not necessarily.
No, but statistically, probably Kristen, because she's,
statistically speaking, but not necessarily.
It's possible. No, I'm not going through it because I'm still technically bleeding, even though I have an IUD. I don't know. See, I have that I'm curious about that because my IUD actually stops me from bleeding. So how do I know? I mean, I'm technically too young to go through menopause, but how would you know if I get another one? Because I'll be 41 when I get it put in again.
There are apparently a whole host of delightful symptoms that you can experience.
Because it's not just the bleeding stopping. There's other things. But I already experienced all the other things. That's the thing. Like there's already
I'm not looking forward to any of it.
Yeah. Like I already have hot flashes as it is. So
I just told my friend the other day that I still very vividly remember dreading getting my first period, and I'm already dreading my period ending for the rest of my life. So it's like
we can't win.
So weird.
Yeah.
How much time passed so quickly in menses phases.
Menses.
And we still have to suffer from it. It's like the period's not over. Like I wish I had the IUD a lot earlier in my life because that would have made a lot of things so much nicer for me.
What are you doing?
She's like, I'm out. See you later.
Can we talk about something else? Let's get started.
Hi.
Hola.
Hi, I'm Kristen, author of The Age of the Child, which is the story of a desperately child-free woman living in a just recently post-Roe v. Wade America.
Hi, I'm Lenora Faye. I am the creator of The Bitchy Bookkeeper, which is a child-free lifestyle brand.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I am a coach for child-free women, and I am the founder and firebrand of the Uprising Spark. And we are the 3 founding non-mothers of Childfree Girls. And today's episode, it's the second special episode, spotlight on a child-free girl. And which one is it going to be today? I'm just kidding. It's Lenora's turn today.
Yay, Lenora.
Yay! So Lenora, as she has introduced herself, and as you may know, if you have listened to her podcast several times already or watched our show on YouTube, is a lifestyle brand creator, a child-free lifestyle brand creator. So my first question would be, what is a lifestyle brand? Because I don't think I have that very clear. So I just want to ask you what that is.
How I introduce myself is a child-free lifestyle content creator because everything that I do is about living child-free. It's about the child-free lifestyle. Yeah.
I like the idea behind having embracing the child-free lifestyle, because that's, we're all child-free here. But I wanted to ask you something also, well, because you love fashion and you love bling and you love wigs and you love shoes and you have an amazing collection of shoes.
Style.
You binge on fashion news and the red carpet and
that's true.
Yes, we know. And anyone who's been paying attention also knows. So it's really fun also to see you showcasing the things that you like. So it's basically, I mean, for me, I don't know if I'm going to be wrong about this. I just want to ask you, because for me, it's look at all these things that I love doing and I can do everything because I don't have to spend money on kids. Is that what it is?
Yes and no. I think in the early days, like the blog, and because I use my life as an example to showcase right now, because I don't go around using other people's lives as examples. I think right now that's what you're seeing because it's true. But also I'm building something from the ground up. So I decided, well, I'll just use it as a platform to share my own story, which happens to be, I like celebrity news. I love Dolce & Gabbana shoes. That rhymes. Oh my God, I've been rhyming a lot lately. I don't know why. I like wigs, glam, you name it. So it's not the sole focus, but I am using my life as a child-free woman who's 38 years old, who has, some resources and such. I am just using my life and stories and experiences as an example to build the brand. So right now it is very much about me per se. because I got to start with something, and I didn't feel compelled to, find other people's stories. So right now that's what it's starting as. And it started with the blog, but now, well, the conversation will progress into what else is happening. But because I'm using my life as an example, that is very much the focus currently. A year from now, we'll see, but that'll be the foundation, is living a child-free life.
What is if you have an ultimate goal with the Childfree brand specifically, do you have a place where you see it culminating, or do you have an end goal, not an end goal, but like a peak goal in mind, or what do you hope to do with it mostly?
So that's a great question, because actually what I really want to do is kind of happening right now. So about a year in, so the Bitchy Bookkeeper just started as a blog, and that's what we're talking about. The lifestyle brand is called the Bitchy Bookkeeper. It's not a personal description. I'm not a bookkeeper. It's just a catchy name that people know how to spell, because people spell Lenora Faye incorrectly all the time.
You're not going to say that you're not bitchy?
I was going to say the same thing. Notice she said she's not bitchy.
No, I said I'm not a bookkeeper.
Yeah, notice she didn't say that she's not bitchy.
It's not a personal description. I am not a bitchy bookkeeper. I am not a bookkeeper. Take that as what you will. So about after a year of blogging, and that was just me just talking about my experience, I realized I wanted to, big dreams, sponsor events, sponsor blogs, sponsor other child-free content creators who have no platform, who have no social media, who have no connections to anybody that can get them into big magazines, let's say, right? And who actually are wanting to do something, and something that resonates with the vision that I have for the Bitchy Bookkeeper. So what has happened is, for example, this year, I am a sponsor for the Childfree Conference, which is happening in July. So I'm actually living a dream right now, as in, mind you, I'm also a co-founder, meaning I'm not putting money, I'm putting my time into building this conference under the Bitchy Bookkeeper. Like my personal name is associated with it, but Bitchy Bookkeeper is because I'm a one-woman show on that right now. So it is a sponsor. So now, like, my answer will become more clear once this conference is done, because I'll be on the other end of it. But this is exactly the kind of thing I want to do with it. It's basically a small media company. I am producing my brother's podcast, which is actually about parenthood, because he's a dad. But I want to create content in all different forms of mediums, like print, audio, video, you name it, and not me making it, but helping other people make it. So that's like the big dream, as providing funding, because I know how important that is. I've had to fund everything myself, and luckily I've been able to do so, but I want to create something that will help fund other people, and I think, in watching people start and stop podcasts, blogs, social media accounts, like the number that it continues to grow. People start, they go for 6 months, they quit. It's a lot of work. It would be nice to have a platform that could help people get started, or not even get started, but maintain it, if they were really passionate about maintaining it. So long answer is that I want it to be a support system for the child-free community to create content, and it would be a boost, whether it's providing funding, fundraising, or it's something that I actually make, like a podcast or a show or a book or whatever. There's a bazillion different things, home decor, everything called the Bitchy Bookkeeper. But it's a support system, but it's to make public things, because that's the other thing. It's not a private group. It is very public. Everything I do is very public. So if someone wants to create something, like create child-free content that wants to go to a big public arena, the Bitchy Bookkeeper is your girl.
Just a quick question would be, for child-free home decor, would that be either white or pastel things that are very sharp at the corners?
This is years down the road. And everything would be covered in glitter. Why are you even asking that question? It's just rhinestones and glitter.
And fragile.
No, not necessarily. Yeah, that's the frivolous aspect of it, the fun thing, but that's not the focus right now. That would be, 5-10 years down the road, when, hey, I can do something fun, and the brand is recognizable. But yeah, essentially it would be helping get content out there.
Circling back to the conference, I think I'm just going to assume that many of our listeners or people who are watching don't know what it is. So if you could just like give them an overview of what it is, because Kristen and I, we both know we're actually participating in it. So would you tell us a little bit more about the conference and how you came to be part of the co-creators? Because that's also very interesting.
It is. And I don't know how I became co-creator of the conference, to be honest. I'm still scratching my head on that one. So I never say this right. 2021 Virtual Child-Free Conference is a free live streaming event happening on Saturday, July 31st. It's happening on the official YouTube page and Facebook page of the Child-Free Conference. We'll put a link down below. And it's 8 hours. So it starts at 9 a.m. Eastern time, which is 7 a.m. my time. I have to be makeup wigged because I'm moderating half of this and as speaker with you guys. So we have, 28 speakers. We have 15 topics and panels, and it's informational and educational event. Again, it's free for everybody. It's a global event. We have speakers from around the world. And it's a way for people to, either feel supported. There'll be question and answers. It's the topics that we've picked are, topics that everyone talks about in groups or amongst themselves in other child-free spaces, being single, being married, getting sterilized, making a community, finding friends, traveling, climate change, reasons why you don't have kids, what's it like to be child-free over the age of 50, so it is this is the first. And really, here's the thing, why it's hard to even pinpoint is because it wasn't my idea. I came on board, I was the last person to come on board with it as far as founders go. Initially, it started as an idea by one of our guests in a previous episode, Jared Hansen. He thought, well, it'd be cool just to have a conference where child-free people can come and listen to speakers from around the world who have some sort of expertise, and to speaking on topics that are relevant to the child-free community, because a lot of people don't even know there's a community. For one, they have nobody to talk to, or if they do, it's not informational, it's more just bitching. It's about support and living a happy child-free life, because it's child-free by choice conference. It's not, we're focusing very much on the child-free by choice. We do have a childless or child-free by circumstance and happy panel though, so we will have that part addressed. But that was the idea for it. It was not my idea. Two child-free dudes from the US got together and we're like, all right, and put out a blanket call. And I was just one of the people that they emailed, because they emailed a bunch of people who were public in the child-free space. And then they asked me if I would make a logo. And I said, sure. Because I've just been learning how to do a whole bunch of new stuff. So I was like, yeah, I can create a logo. I was like, I can figure this out. And so I did. And it actually turned out pretty good. I'm quite proud of myself on that one. And so then I joined them in December for a meeting. And we got to talking, and it was like when I met you two, we got together, we hashed out this idea. They told me what their vision for it. And it was just like, we all fell in love, kind of how like the three of us fell in love. So it was very much that same connection, but with two dudes. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I was like, yeah, just put me as PR manager, because I'll handle all the social media. I'll make all the images. And that was going to be my contribution. Even though I still have the text I sent Jared, I said, I'm not going to be making this. I said, I don't have time, because I thought there'd be like 300 people all trying to put this together. Right. And it's just too many people. But then I was the only other person that showed up. Therefore, I became a co-founder. So that was not my idea. But now I meet with them. I've met with them every week since December. And we're 6 months into this thing. And it's actually gone a heck of a lot bigger than we imagined. So, and it's gelling pretty cool. So now we're going into rehearsals at this point in time. By the time this airs, we'll be starting rehearsals with speakers. So yeah, it's like one of those dreams you kind of manifest. You're like, one day I'm going to do this or be a part of something, but it's like, well, you have a chance to make it now. So here I am. It's honestly the whole entire thing, even the brand stuff, it's all just like an idea. And this is what's happened so far.
Have you had any time to play piano? because it
Yes.
seems like it really, because it seems like
Yeah.
you're waking up, you're doing child-free morning chat on Clubhouse,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing Childfree Girls stuff, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing conference stuff, you're doing your lives.
My brother's podcast.
Your brother, it's like, aside from your brother's very specifically parenting podcast, but
Mm-hmm.
parenting with a twist, it seems like your whole day is full of child free, child free, child free. So
Yep.
I can't believe you find time to play your piano and enjoy your shoes.
Well, you get up in the morning and my shoes are in my closet. And so I walk through my closet, go to my bathroom, and I'm like, good morning. All my wigs, I got like 21 wigs all on the walls. I got my shoes all showcased, my clothes. I was like, yeah, this is my dream closet. It needs to be like 1,000 times bigger, but that's cool. Yeah, no, it's fun. And I have to, like, this week kind of knocked me flat, but I have to remind myself that 3 years ago, or just coming up 3 years, I like dreamed of being able to do any of this stuff. Actually, not really. I was not interested in doing a podcast or a web series because I didn't want to be on camera. But it's actually really cool how it's all just materialized, and I haven't had to overthink any of it. Don't get me wrong, I overthink, but it's like, wow, okay, this is where I'm at. So let's just keep going with it, because it's everything I like to do, and I'm learning new skills. And this is I had this vision of actually doing all of these activities, meaning meetings, on like being at home, doing meetings, doing virtual events. I had this vision 10 years ago. I did not know what it was tied to. I thought it was music, because at the time I was in music. So I thought it would be music related. I had no idea it would be child free related, but that's the cool part of it, is I've actually had this vision of me, everything I'm doing now. I had a vision of me doing this. I just didn't know it was going to be about child free content. So I'm really, it's cool to have that realization. But yes, the piano is my sanity, because I don't drink and I don't smoke and I don't do anything else except talk or watch movies or go for a drive. And I don't have time to even go for a road trip right now. So playing the piano is my way of relaxing. Like, even when I had a headache, I put my headphones on and I just play. And I'm still really rusty, but it still sounds nice. So yeah, that's my way of relaxing. And I don't have pets to walk, so I can play the piano instead of doing that.
So for those of you who don't remember, she's not only child free, she's also pet free.
By choice.
By choice. And cooking too, because you're a great cook. You're always sending us pictures and we're like, drooling all over.
Delicious looking. And like, when it's just me and Ian's not home, I will go to the store and buy one of those pre-made, made in the back of the, grocery store kitchen dinners. Cause I just don't enjoy it. I enjoy that. Like, I'm capable of it. I just don't. And for yours, like, also, you'll have pictures of, I mean, you probably don't make the croissants from scratch, but you just really enjoy, like, how to savor food. I mean, you just are unabashed, like, you do it so right. You do it so correctly. You know what I mean?
That's why I have this body. I savor food.
No, but like, I mean, so many people like eat. I mean, I love to eat, but I don't take it like the other day I had that Bailey's and ice cream and fruit, and that was my one, wow, look at this incredible thing I'm eating. But you're always eating something incredible and interesting. Like, I'll eat spaghetti and, tacos.
Oh, well, no, both have their place for sure. Lately though, I've been like relying on my sometimes companion to come over and cook and clean for me, because I just haven't had time. But it's never the way that I cook specifically. So no, I haven't actually had time to make like a good roast meal, but I have done brunch, and I sent you that quiche recipe because I make really good quiche. Yeah, no, I do. I like the presentation. I like creating things. I loved creating music, and I still do. I actually just composed my first piece the other day. It's just recorded. I didn't write it down, but I haven't done that in so long. But this melody came to my head, and I just played it. I was like, oh, this is really pretty. Anyway, so food is part of the creating process, and it's just nice to do a presentation. And I just, this is so weird. And if anyone's watching this, please let me know that you do this too. I have this thing about looking at menus from like the fanciest restaurants around the world, like Nobu in Malibu, for example. I really want to go there. I will eat my meal and look at the menu because I like getting ideas and I just like the fancy presentation of things. And so I look at fancy restaurant menus. It's like, because I also house shop in like San Francisco. That's way out of my budget, but you know, I like to think of what's possible. And food gives me that, you know, like when I make a nice meal for myself, it gives me that feeling of something nice. And plus it tastes really good. So yeah, I'm a foodie, kind of. I don't like trying new things though. Terrible for that.
And the presentation is impeccable. Like
Yeah,
I remember what you did for, I think it was the Oscar viewing party.
Yeah.
It was
Oh my God. My
you.
Oscar viewing parties are awesome. And it's just me.
And
That's the sad thing.
it's not sad. I mean, it's your, I think, I don't know, when you sent the picture, like, this is my Oscar party view, my Oscar viewing party, and it's just me, and it's all the food and everything looked amazing. I thought, wow, that a fucking great way of self-care. Like, I would love to do that for myself as well.
You know what is a great form of self-care that I started doing, and it's not like overly fancy, where like it's not obtainable. Okay, so I did inherit a really nice bone china set from my grandma, but I'll do high tea for myself sometimes. Like if I need a pick me up, that's something that I've been doing the last few years, just to really, like, if I'm just feeling down, I like loose leaf tea. So I'll make a pot of loose leaf tea in the really fancy bone china, and then I'll make those little tiny sandwiches like tuna or cucumber, whatever, and cut them up. And then I'll sometimes, if I don't want to bake a whole bunch of stuff because I don't actually eat it, I just like baking. I don't like eating that stuff. So I'll go to another bakery and buy something a little fancy, like little, I don't know, whatever, just so I can have pretty things. And then I'll get like a bag of Oreos and I'll like put that, and it all has to look good. And even if I don't eat it, because sometimes I don't, it's just drinking the tea and looking at that. And I'll put a nice, like a movie on, like a girly movie. And that's just high tea. It's just, I like doing those things for myself because, you know, and then I'll journal or I'll just, like, my whole entire house, there's always something glittery on the wall or something that means something to me. It's just about just living whatever you're going through, just having a good, I don't know, having a presentation to look at. I like to just smell, taste, touch, see, hear nice things. I really do. And I think now that I'm talking about this, I really think that's what I want with the Bitchy Bookkeeper. I mean, the name is just supposed to be the haha funny, but it's to invite people to enjoy whatever they have, you know, and even teach yourself to present it in a way that's, you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, I'm alive. Yeah, there's things I have to deal with that I don't want to do, but actually things aren't bad. And that's kind of what the whole brand is about. It's just enjoying what you have, inviting more of it, and doing nice things for yourself as a child-free person, male or female, non-binary, whatever. Like, it's just that's how I live. And so I guess I use this platform as a way to express it so other people can be inspired by it somehow, or think this person's a nut. Whatever. I don't care.
You know, I love that. I love that message. I think is very important. There's a lot of people in our community that need that kind of aspiration, I guess, you know, to see somebody enjoying their life and say, hey, I can do it too, right? Because there's a lot of some of us have carried some shame or have carried some, you know, type of weight around our decisions. So
yeah,
I think it's very important. And you know, when you were talking about self-care, you mentioned journaling, and that's something that I have already, I think I've told you already in one of these episodes, and if not, I don't like doing it. I know you really enjoy it, and you actually created a whole line of Childfree journals, and there's one behind you.
That was the first thing I did under the Bitchy Bookkeeper, was create Childfree journals. So it's actually called the Bitchy Bookkeeper Journal. If you Google it, it's the Bitchy Bookkeeper Journal, Volume 1 and Volume 2. They're cute. They're adorable. Like, they're actual, like, okay, the lighting's going to be horrible, so there's no point in me holding them up. But no, and actually, Kristen, I gave me the idea for it in a roundabout way to make that, because I made a memo on Twitter one time. This was like 2 years ago. And it said, you know, quit asking me when you're going to have kids, because I'm going to start charging you $150. So I made a memo, and it was funny. And so I posted it and people loved it. And Kristen was like, that would make a great book cover. I'm like, And I always had this thought in my mind that one day in another life, I want to create my own line of journals because I've been journaling since I was 12. And I mean, they're messy and half the time they don't make sense, but I've kept all of my journals, like my high school journal, my grade 6 journals up there somewhere. I've got dozens of journals around the house. And I was like, oh my God, can I create a journal for child-free people? And so I did some investigation. I went to I went to Amazon Kindle University and spent 30 days working on this idea in a notepad. And I think it was 23 days from the time that I had the idea to I actually had the prototype in my hand. I did not sleep. I just solely did that. And I got it and I was like, I'm just going to try. I didn't tell anybody about it. I was like, I'm going to see if I can make a paperback journal for child-free people. And I had an idea. It'd be illustrated. It'd be lined. It has my story, like stories in it. It has quotes in it. And I was like, I'm going to try this. If it doesn't work, no one has to know. And then it worked. And people bought it the first day. So that was nice. The way it went live. But anyway, so yeah, so that's Child-Free Journals is an umbrella underneath the Bitchy Bookkeeper, but it's the Bitchy Bookkeeper journal. And so they've just undergone two cover redesigns. But that was like probably one of the coolest moments in my life because I was like, oh, I just made journals because I love journaling. And so it was probably premature in because it's a new brand. So, but the thing is, I don't have time to make that now. So that's why I had to make it then, because I've been able to tweak it. And now as things get more visible, you know, they're ready. Because if I just had this idea, that's the thing. And that's kind of what I want to mention to anyone who's like trying an idea and it's maybe not, you know, timing. You kind of feel like I need to do this now, but I have zero platform. Do it anyway, because by the time you get the platform, you're going to be so busy, you won't have time to follow up with the idea. Like I realized I had to make these 2 years before it was probably like really ready because I don't have time to start that from scratch now. These are done. They're ready. They're available. Right. So that was a lesson I just recently learned is like, sometime you think the timing's off, but if you are called to do the idea, do it. Even if you don't see how it's going to work and it might take 2 or 3 years for it to take off the ground, just do it anyway. If like you can't not do it, because you'll get to the point where it's, you just don't have the time to make it. And then, you know, then you'll be like, oh, I should have done that. So anyway, that's my rant. And
yeah. And you can find the journals on Amazon.
Yes, you can. If you go to the bitchybookkeeper.com, there'll be links to everything. And you can also, if you don't know how to journal, well, I have a solution and I'll credit Isabel. See, you girls have given me like so many ideas that have been awesome. So was it you like, or maybe it was Kristen again? I don't know. Both of you gave me the idea to do an ebook. So there is a free ebook if you want. You can also go to childfreejournals.com if you want to get your free ebook. If you don't know how to journal, don't have a freaking clue, and you just have like toilet paper to write on, which I don't recommend, but you can do like scrap paper or cards or something. Go get your free ebook and it'll give you prompts. There's 50 prompts, child-free prompts on journaling. It'll help. It's fun and it's free. So do that. Hey, I like talking about my stuff. I'm very proud of it. Kristen's laughing.
We lost Kristen for a minute there.
Yeah. What's on your mind, Kristen?
Oh no, I was just enjoying your mannerisms.
Hey, I'm talking about me. That makes me happy.
I forget what I was going to ask now. Did you journal a lot when you said you started when you were 12?
Mm-hmm.
So was that because of the environment you were raised in? Like, was it your only escape from the oppressive situation you were in, or?
Yeah, there was two things. Music was one escape because I was doing piano and violin and music theory at that point. So music and journaling. Music was the only way I could like express myself outwardly. Like I was always a talker and stuff, but I was raised in a religious cult. So, you know, and this is why, bringing it back to why I am so overtly like attracted to glamour, and I really bring it into everything I do. It's because you have to understand, there was something in me always as a little kid that was attracted to sparkle, but I was raised where you don't wear makeup, you only wear dresses and they have to be drab, and you can't be a ballerina and you can't be a musician. Like, women can't do anything except be mothers and have kids, and you have to obey God, and that's it. And you can't do anything that's attracts attention. Well, that's like the opposite of my personality. So as an adult, I think that's partly why I'm drawn to doing what I do, is because I want to encourage people that, hey, it's okay to express yourself, to be out there, and you don't have to be. That's why the journals was kind of like for those who are really introverted and don't want to be out there, they have a place to like store their thoughts. But so bringing it back to why I journaled at a young age, that was the only place where I could really write down how I really felt, was in a journal that had a lock and key attached to it. Because I had friends in school, but I wasn't allowed to really hang out with them too much after school. So it was just music. And then I had my religious friends, but they didn't think the way I did, because I was like, this is weird. But there were so many things, and I had so much anger, and I didn't like my parents, but I wanted to be a superstar. Like I wanted so many things. I didn't have a TV, but yet I really wanted to go watch movies, like all these things. And so I could write it down, and I could vent, and I could just say what I really felt in those journals. And then I just have always done it. And it helps me get ideas out and then bring the ideas into reality. So journaling and music, because that took me out of that lifestyle that I was brought up in and that was expected for me to continue. So those two things really did help. So yeah, I've always been like darkest moments and happy times. Like I have journals that are just for ideas. I have journals that are just for sex scenes, fantasies, whatever, like everything. I have a journal for everything because what it does is it allows me to think about it, feel it internally, and then bring it into reality for the most part. Unless I go, let's just keep that a fantasy. Too much work to bring it into reality. So yeah, I journal many ideas, like everything, like even podcast stuff, like visions I have for where I want Childfree Girls to go, or where I feel like it could go. Like it's not just about, journaling isn't just about dear diary, today's date, today I did this, today I did that, today, it's not about recapping your life. That's what it started as, is a recap. But now it's more of a, here's what I feel, and here's what I want to see, or here's what I want to experience. Or I have journals for planning trips when that was a thing, like when I went to San Francisco, and then just all the things I wanted to do. And then when I was in San Francisco, kind of doing a recap or what I was feeling at the moment. Like it can be whatever you want to be. I love making lists and I love making daydreams. And so journaling can be that too. It does not have to be formal at all. And you don't have to spell properly either. Just saying, people, a lot of times people don't understand what journaling is. So it can be whatever you want.
I think it's great that you said that, because I think you're right. A lot of people don't know what it's for. Like they think it has to be a certain thing. Like, well, if I'm going to have a journal, then I probably need to write this kind of stuff. But I think what is easy to not know is that it's a place where it's because they are by definition very private books. Mm-hmm. It is kind of the place where whatever is your head or whatever is your self can just become something on paper. You know what I mean? I mean, it can be anything. You can go in there and doodle. You can go in there and make angry scratches if you're having a bad day. You can write your wildest ideas or wildest dreams. I mean, it's anything. It's just you. So it's whatever you want it to be.
It's just a way to release energy. And that's, for a long time, that's what it was. I think now, especially since developing this platform, like the Bitchy Bookkeeper specifically, and all the things that I do with it, and even with doing podcasting, I am now able to vocalize generally, eloquently enough or coherent, how I feel. But journal, a lot of times it takes journaling first. Sometimes your own thoughts don't make any sense to you, and you just have to write down what you're feeling, even if it doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't have to. The whole point is you're getting it out. And then over time, you can start to make sense of how you feel inside, regardless of the topic. You can go, okay, I'm feeling something. And sometimes you don't want to even be honest with yourself in journals. Journaling is an interesting process. At first, you're just kind of like, oh God, I feel like an idiot. What am I going to write? And so you just write, something, or you doodle, like I like to doodle trees or hearts or whatever. And then you start to realize, okay, I need to be honest with myself about something. And you just, it's a process. It's like some people can go right in and just put everything out there on paper. Sometimes it takes you a while to get comfortable because you have to sit with yourself. I think maybe that deters people from journaling a bit too, is because you have to take a moment and sit with yourself, and that's not easy. Even if you're a pro journaler, that's not easy, because there are times where I'm like, I'm feeling this way and I feel ashamed I feel this way because I'm old enough to know better to feel this way, but I still feel this way. I mean, that is something I still deal with, whether jealousy, anger, rage, whatever you're feeling, or like you're thinking about somebody that you shouldn't be thinking about or whatever, it's something that we never really get over. It's like being honest with yourself, and journaling does bring that up. If you get to that point, and you don't have to get to that point. So it is daunting. I get it. And the whole point is, I wanted something that's child-free related, specifically for people who want to feel like not alone. Cause I talk to you in these journals, by the way. I mean, it's not just a blank page. Like I'll share some stuff about myself in there too. Cause that's what journals do. And I would love to read people's journals, but you can read mine by, I share some personal stuff in there in each one. But yeah, I because journaling has been a big thing for me. I didn't want to make something that doesn't have any meaning, and journals have a lot of meaning to me. So it made sense that I could make a journal line. And that's the only thing I've made that's for sale that funds everything right now, is that. So
Switching gears a little bit. I don't know if the audience knows, but oh my God, is that strawberry shortcake?
It is. It's from when I was like, when this starts, I am 10. I am also 10 when it ends.
Wow.
that is so cute. You know what? It reminds me, something weird. I looked at the date of my very first journal entry was February 3rd, 1995. My mom died February 3rd, 2005.
Huh.
I didn't even, I was, because that was my very first journal. So I was 12. I looked, I found it. Well, I had it, but I hadn't looked through it, because it's really embarrassing to read your 12-year-old journal, by the way. Really embarrassing. like, oh my God. What? Okay. Glad I don't have kids, because I don't want to deal with that brain. But I looked at the date and I was like, oh my God, that was exactly 10 years before my mom died. I'm not saying it means anything, but that threw me for a second. I was like, that is just so weird. It was just such a distinctive date. Anyway, you're gonna ask me a question, Isabel.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, switching gears a little bit. I don't know if the audience knows this, but the three of us, we co-created Childfree Club on Clubhouse. And Lenora has been by far the most active one of the three of us in Clubhouse. So I wanted to ask you if you could tell us a little bit about how this experience of leading that club has been for you. Where do you see it going? Because anyone can join. And this is a place where we've actually created something really cool. And Lenora is going to tell you more about it.
So this is a social media platform that I've been waiting for my entire life, because it's all talking. There's no recording. There's Kristen's like, yep. There's no posting. There's no video. There's no static pictures or words or anything. It's just audio. And it's very much like a call-in radio show. If you don't know what Clubhouse is, it's like call-in talk radio. You can, you're on your phone, or some people use an iPad. I don't know the longevity of it, but I love the idea. And that's why I was like, so first of all, what really excited me about Clubhouse and doing the audio chats is because I am moderating half of the Childfree conference. And if you guys watch the beginning of Childfree Girls, like the early episodes, moderating is not something I know how to do. It's not something I had any skill at. So I was really nervous to moderate a conversation, because I don't know how to freaking moderate. And the thing is most of these episodes are edited. So the thing with Clubhouse and with the conference, it's going to be live streamed. So I saw this as an opportunity to practice moderating a conversation. First of all, it's less pressure because there's no video. It's just audio. So I listened to a lot of rooms first, and then we got Childfree Club, I think, a a few weeks after I was on Clubhouse, we got Childfree Club approved. And so it was just an experiment. I was like, I did an evening chat and some people showed up and that was cool. And then I did a morning chat and I'm not a morning person. So 8 o'clock in the morning for me. So mountain time, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. A whole bunch of people showed up. So now we're like 9 weeks into this, like Monday to Friday, I'm up at 8 in the morning, moderating a 2-hour conversation. And it has been amazing. And then we do events on Saturday. We have Child Free Sunday brunch on Sunday mornings. The three of us host, and it has been absolutely incredible. And out of everything I do, aside from Childfree Girls, because that'll still be like my favorite, like it's the audio conversation. There's something about it because a lot of them, the people that show up, they've been on my Instagram, but I actually know these people now. Like we know each other because I know their voices. They know my voice. You know, it's a whole different vibe. It's a whole different experience because we're talking and we talk about everything. We talk about race, we talk about racism, we talk about sexism, we talk about sizes, and we talk about, sexuality, we talk about prejudice. Like we have funny conversations. We talk about silly stuff too, don't get me wrong, but it's just opened up a whole new way of communicating within the child free community. And we've grown the club to 400 members now, which is awesome. And it's not that 400 people show up at once. Everyone gets a chance to speak. But what I've learned is, first of all, I'm getting really good at moderating conversation because basically the whole point is holding a space for people to talk about whatever they need to talk about. You don't know what people are going to come in, and this is the thing, like I open the room, I host it, but I don't control the conversation ever. I will start. And there's been times, especially at the beginning, I did a lot of talking because everyone's kind of like, stage fright and you're talking with a group of strangers. So I can make the room comfortable and I can just talk about whatever, that's relevant to the community and just kind of get a feel for the room. But over time, what's happened is like, okay, so for example, this morning, I haven't been feeling good all week. So I was just like really hurting and like 3 people stepped up to mod with me. So I still was a moderator, but they took over. So I just was like lying in bed, listening to the conversation, and I would add, I would speak on occasion, but it was nice because they know the vibe of the room that I've created for Child Free Morning Chat. And so they were able to take it over for me so I could relax because they're like, we got your back. Don't worry about it. Just relax and we'll make sure it's a safe space. Cause that's what it is. Like the 3 of us, everything that we do is a space for people to come as they are, speak their mind, learn and share. Right. And so with Child Free Club, that's very much what it is. And the nice thing is we have gotten active members who understand that. And so whether they do a rooms or we're the ones moderating the room, and I mod 7 days a week, so I'm usually in the room with them, they understand and appreciate and share that same vision for what the 3 of us have wanted to create. So that just makes it so much easier. Plus now I'm used to getting up in the morning now, so I won't be a complete zombie by the time we have to start the conference, because that's what it all started with. I needed practice moderating, and I still need practice moderating because sometimes things get a little dicey if new people come into the room. So it's just been this really, really cool experience where people get to talk or listen or whatever, it's been really, really neat. I love it. And I hope it continues. And if it doesn't, there'll be another platform where we can do the same thing. So it's great because you don't have to post. You don't have to like plan anything. You just show up and you talk. Like that's I'm very musical, but that is something that I was meant to do. And one more thing before I let you guys talk. It's a joke, Kristen. As I think, I didn't know this at the beginning when I first started the Bitchy Bookkeeper. I was just writing long articles. I hate writing long articles, but that's the only thing I felt comfortable doing. And that's the only thing that became available at the time. So it's evolved to where I am comfortable now speaking and doing events and like speaking on camera for the most part and doing audio. So it is neat to see your own personal evolution as you build something, because what I realize is I would like to have long articles and stuff, but I don't have to be the one that does them. Now that I know where my strengths are, which are having conversation, it's not giving speeches, it's having conversation. So I am at that point now where I'm going, okay, this is where my strength is, so I can capitalize on it as much as possible. Meaning giving space for people to share, creating spaces, creating events, and then we'll see what happens with the rest of it. But I don't need to do everything myself. Once I know where I can shine, then I can let other people who are so much better at doing long articles and doing social media and, doing the fun, entertaining stuff. I can have a team to do that, in the child-free space. So it's very much a learning experience, but Clubhouse has really given me that clarity that, like, speaking in conversation, that is my number one strength. Moderating myself is something else I have to work on, but that's another story.
If tomorrow all the child-free everything fell away, nobody cared if anybody had kids, everyone who didn't want kids was totally fine not having kids, they had no need for any kind of space, safe or otherwise, what would you do?
I would go into music composition. I would go into my next career, because I never, like, this was not something that was ever planned. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be talking about this subject. So now that I realize that I like to speak up about certain things, I could speak up on racism because I'm biracial and I've experienced that. I mean, there's so many other topics I could talk about. But child-free thing is the most passionate. But I do know that I want to pursue a career in music composition as well, which is why I'm focusing on building a brand that Lenora Faye can do other things, but the brand keeps going, which is why I have it separate. Like the Bitchy Bookkeeper is a child-free brand, and Lenora Faye is not the child-free lifestyle brand, because Lenora Faye has many other things she is going to do in addition to the Bitchy Bookkeeper later on in life, right? You got to keep yourself open. So yeah, music composition. I want to film movie scores. Let me try that again. I want to compose scores for movies. I don't know what I just said back there, but it was completely wrong.
I don't know if this is a question you'll want to answer, but I'm just
I answer all questions.
Okay. Because I don't think you've ever talked about the racism you've experienced. I just wondered if you would talk about that a little.
Oh, absolutely. So I have a Black dad and a white mother. My mom has since passed, and I am from Canada, Alberta specifically. And my dad's family, they're Black, all Black, very Black, do not acknowledge the fact that they're Black, which is why I say they're very Black on the outside, but I can't tell you what Black culture is. And I also didn't grow up with a television, so I did not know how Black people were portrayed in the media.
Wait, how do you mean that they don't acknowledge or they don't, I forget the word you use, but they don't
acknowledge the fact that they're Black.
What does that mean?
I have no idea. It's just you can't talk to them about being Black. You can't talk to them about racism. You cannot talk to them about, why am I this skin color and my mom's that color? Because I grew up in a house with both my parents. I had a Black dad, white mom, but I did not know there was a color difference until I went to school and kids were starting to call me Brownie, because I grew up in northern Alberta, where at the time it was just white kids. So, I couldn't go to my parents and say, like, I grew up in a color neutral household. So my dad never talked about race. I didn't grow up around his family too much because they raised us in a cult. So they removed us from other family members because the other family members didn't belong. So, I didn't understand. And so I was teased because I had a tan and everybody else didn't. And it got worse in middle school because suddenly I moved to a different part of Alberta, the southern part. And kids were, when I show them a picture of my dad, or I say, yeah, my dad's Black, because at that point I realized that my parents were two different colors. They were like, oh, does your dad do this? Or does he have dreads? I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't understand that Black people were portrayed in the 90s in a certain way on TV. And I did not have a TV until I was 19 years old. So I had no idea. So there is this stereotype, and no one explained it to me because I didn't grow up around my dad's family. I saw my grandmother, but they don't talk about racism. They don't talk about their skin color. They don't talk about why they're darker. You don't discuss that. So I was very confused. Like, and I have like my natural hair. If you guys go back to the earlier episodes, you'll see my natural hair. This is a wig. I don't have the, I don't even know how to put it. I don't look like a Black person, or what people think Black people should look like, which is a whole other conversation that we had with Kimya. So go back and watch that episode. So there was a lot of things I did not understand. I did not, like, my dad gave me no history as to where we came from, where he came from, his family came from. They don't talk about that. There was just like, what are you talking about? We're not Black. We're like, you don't talk about that stuff. So I've just been navigating through my entire life as a biracial person, not understanding anything about Black culture or history, not really understanding the complications that people have because of it, like the racism, even though I've had racist remarks to me. So then it's like, you're too white to be Black and too Black to be white. And, you know, I would go to my, as I got older, I was going to family reunions on my mom's side, and everyone's like, oh, well, where are you from? I'm like, Alberta? Like, yeah, they were in Saskatchewan. You know, it's because I had a different skin color than everybody. So, and I didn't know how to answer that. Kids would ask me the same thing. Where are you from? I don't know, down the street. Like, I did not know how to answer that question. And then it was like, is your dad OJ Simpson? And I had no idea who OJ Simpson was, because my dad looks like OJ Simpson. My dad looks like a combination of Bill Cosby and OJ Simpson, which is like two really terrible examples, but he is a blend of those two men. So they're very obviously Black men. That's what my dad looks like. But people would see my dad in the neighborhood because it was a white neighborhood. Is your dad OJ Simpson? Again, I wasn't even reading People magazine at that time because the OJ Simpson trial was coming out. I had no idea who that was. So it's things like that, you know, that I was getting all these comments and I did not know where they were coming from or why they were happening. And I had no way of talking about it with anybody. And my brother, he was at the point, and this is something he's actually passed on to his oldest son. You talk about inherited family trauma. My brother, who is lighter skinned than I am naturally, he would cover himself from the age of 10 till, oh my God, I don't know, 15. He would wear sweaters and gloves and hats and hoodies in the summertime so he would not get dark. Because he did not want to be teased. His oldest son does the exact same thing for the same reason. And he's my oldest nephew, who has a white, like my nephews have a white mom, so they're like even more beige. They do tan very easy also. And we've had that discussion of race because they recognize that even though they're lighter, they're still different skin color than most of their friends. So that is something that my brother, I mean, he's fine with it now, and he's talked to his kids, but his oldest son has identical thought and mannerisms as my brother did at that age.
But that couldn't have come, so that came from just being out in the world beyond the cult then, or beyond your family, obviously, because race was not, it just wasn't an issue in your family. Like it was so not an issue.
Well, it was so much of an issue that it wasn't an issue. Like they did not want to talk about it. And I didn't find out until just before my mom died. She told me that her dad did not come to her wedding because she was marrying a Black man. I had no idea. My grandfather had no idea because he never treated me or my brother differently, or my dad. He was very respectful. He passed when I was 12. He was always very good to us, but I did not know that. So there was, and then my uncle, who passed a few years ago, like in 2017, I had a conversation with my uncle about this, and he confirmed everything, that my grandfather was very concerned about his little white daughter, his youngest girl, marrying a Black man because she's going to have biracial kids. And he's not wrong, because it's very confusing being biracial. It is. I don't recommend it, but what can you do? You know, it's so I found out more about my grandfather's mindset towards Black people. And so I was like, oh, okay. Like he was the only one that outwardly had a problem with it. And that's not something I knew about that my parents faced. You know, I mean, they were an interracial couple in the 70s in Alberta, Canada here. And I guess that created some concerns for people, but they never told me that. So, you know, I mean, so race was an issue for them to the point where they did not want to talk about it to their kids.
Yeah. I guess what I meant was it wasn't for you and your brother. I mean, only like you were raised to just see people, to see all these, to not have stereotypical associations of any kind with race.
But there's an issue with that too, though, is because then you're just ignorant. Because that's how I felt. Nicer
if the whole world were like that, though. If the whole world just simply saw people,
it would. But I understand how that's problematic too, though.
Because like, the whole world isn't like that.
Yeah, I think that's why. Because in theory, it makes sense. But it really did stunt us in a lot of ways by not being able to have those discussions. So when like Black Lives Matter happened last year, it was like freaking uncomfortable as hell for me, because I was like, suddenly I had to talk about stuff. that I wasn't really ready to talk about, but I did. And now I'm able to have these conversations more with an understanding of where I am and a better understanding of what other people go through. That's way more intense than what I went through. But not erasing the fact that I still have experienced things. And that doesn't mean just because my experience is this, and it may not look as bad as what other people's experience, it still hurt. Like I still have, pain from things that were said to me as a kid. Like that's why I hate nicknames. I hate like, you have to call me Lenora. Don't call me anything else, because I was called Brownie like my entire elementary school experience in that particular town. And I hated it. Like I hate nicknames to this day because of that, which was racially, it was a racial thing. So it does affect you. Like it may seem minor, but it still hurts. So, that it's something to think about. Like everybody has a different experience with it. And that's been my experience. And so it's nice, to be at this point in my life where I can talk about things like that. And it still stings, but I don't mind sharing it, because that's the whole point. I mean, everything I do is really about self-expression and to have those conversations that may not be comfortable, but I'm not holding it in anymore. So there is freedom in talking about that stuff. So I appreciate the question.
I have nothing further.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I call you Elle. Can I call you Elle?
Yeah, you can get away with that.
I just want to ask you, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you would like us to ask you for this episode specifically?
That's a really good question. No, I think that covers it. What were we talking about again? I'm still wrapped up in the race conversation.
You were talking about
we're talking about me. No, it's just the bitchy bookkeeper is ever evolving, and it's fun. And I hope people just get a fun vibe from it. I mean, there's it's about. Essentially it's about, first of all, it was about me sharing my story as and all the randomness that is me. It's a fun way to express myself through that brand, but I also see the potential, and the point of it is to really bring positive awareness to the child-free lifestyle and the choice, and just having the opportunity to talk about it, under that platform. And even just, I just show up as myself, essentially. It's what it is, just me showing up everywhere. And that's the bitchy bookkeeper, is this right now. So, just seeing where it goes. It's going many places, good places, and elevating child-free people in different ways. So.
Well, that is all for this episode. Thank you so much for being with us and listening to Lenora talk about her and her brand. And we also, I can say, and maybe I'm also speaking for Kristen here, but we also enjoy knowing more about each other. We've been together for almost 2 years now as Childfree Girls, and every time we learn new things about each other, it's really cool. So if you want to send us an email, you can. childfreegirls@gmail.com, and you can visit our website. It's childfreegirls.com, and we hope you enjoyed this episode.
You can also find us all over social media. We are at Childfree Girls on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course Clubhouse, but we're not at Childfree Girls on Clubhouse. We are under our own individual names. So if you want to get on Clubhouse, you do need an invitation. So please reach out to us via email or DM us on social media, and we will send you a link to Childfree Club. If you are already on the app and it's functioning, so meaning you can be active on it, just look for Childfree Club, and that is us. You can also find us on Amazon, our book behind us that way, Childfree Girls, Comfort Food for Thought, available on paperback and on Kindle.
And we still ask a question, even if the episode is about a person answering questions. And today's question is, what question would you like to ask Lenora?
That's a lot of questions in that question.
She has opened herself up to answer anything.
You can ask me
anything. So have a lot of fun with that. You can leave your question down below in the comments, or you can email it to the previously given email address, which is childfreegirls@gmail.com.
No spaces.
I was just pausing so you could write it down. What?
And don't forget, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Even if you're listening on the podcast, please go to Childfree Girls YouTube and subscribe. That really, really helps us out, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. No, you say bye.
No, you say bye.
Oh my God, I'm leaving.
You leave first.
I'm going.
Bye.
Bye.